So this live.
There we are. Gosh.
Links.
Oh, that's for your YouTube.
Is that the live stream?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go share it.
Sharing. Yeah. Bam. All right. I wish there was a better chat.
There's 2 viewers on here.
I wish there was a chat.
I don't know if there is a chat. Is there? That looks like a chat.
That's a chat.
Okay. So we just now published the thing onto Facebook, so we'll let it go for just a little bit until we actually start talking. But if you're in here, will you chat us and tell us who you are, because we can't see as people come in, and it would be cool to know who was in here.
Say what's up.
What's up? Sorry, I'm going to be looking at myself the whole time.
We've got a bunch of crap.
6 viewers.
What?
Okay.
Let me move this over.
Why?
Yeah, moderate your broadcast trillion. Just okay.
Y'all, chat us and tell us who's in here, because we don't know. We can just tell that there's 6 viewers. And can y'all hear us? Is it slow? Is it weird?
Just give us an idea, because we've obviously never done this.
That is not a good view. I do not want to be playing all that, girl.
So.
Did you put our food in the fridge?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it's not sitting right there.
So.
We're just waiting on more people to get in here, because we just posted it on Facebook and all that stuff. If I had the link, I should
Well,
share it on Instagram.
We're gonna be chit-chatting about the kind of what led us to where we're at with the adoption, when we're, all that stuff. Kind of a background as to, just kind of a background on everything.
So first, let me go to Facebook where I just shared this, and I'm going to see if I can share it. Copy the link on Instagram and do it that way. Whoa!
No, Jesus. So, let me start off by saying, though, I do want to thank everybody, though, for those who've shared everything and who've just done all that stuff.
Say cheese.
Cheese.
I hate my hair.
I love your hair. Yeah. So super stoked on everybody who's given and donated and shared, and I mean.
Oh my gosh, it's seriously so crazy, because we weren't going to announce it till after, we heard back from the Charlie, please stop running, okay? You're making the dogs bark. So after we got further into the process a little bit. So then we were like, no, let's do it on Sunday. That way we can go ahead and start raising money and all that kind of stuff. So, what is that? An internet?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, let's just go ahead and start. Let's just do it on Sunday so we can start raising money and all that stuff, because the first $3,500 is due in 10 days, I think. So, and that is the fee. We're going through a consulting business, not an agency, but once we are matched with a birth mom, then we will obviously agency, but we'll still have the consultants with us, and it's a Christian consultant agency. So we just decided to go ahead and do it on Saturday because well, you know, we could have waited till Sunday, but I was like, let's just do it now. Let's just do it. So we did. And yesterday, just on our donation page alone, we raised $377. Charlie.
Keep talking. I'm going.
No, you need to handle Charlie, not dogs. Sorry, that's loud. That's my dogs. You need to tell her. Zoe Marie. Lord have mercy. So on our donation page alone yesterday, we raised $375. My friend, her Instagram page is Hooray Every Day, and she has an Etsy shop, and she sells like banners and like woolly ball banners and like, you know, cute glitter word banners and stuff like that. And if you've ever seen any of Charlie's birthday party pictures, she always does the like banners and stuff for Charlie's birthday party. But she has over 40,000 followers on Instagram. So she was so generous and made a banner specifically for our adoption and made 15 of them at $30 a piece, and they sold out within 2 hours. So that's $450 right there. So $377 on the donation page, $450 from my friend, and she gave us all the proceeds for that. So that was really freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And people were even continuing to comment and being like, I want one, I want one, I want one. And she only could make 15 because she, you know, that's all the supplies she had to make that particular kind. So, and then we decided, you know, that I own a online boutique called B+C, and I have a VIP group on Facebook, which is just www.facebook.com/groups/B+C boutique VIP. And that's where I normally post, like, you know, clearance items or, you know, just random whatever. So it had about 180 followers in there, or followers, is that what it is? Members in the group. And I announced, hey, I'm going to do a 48 hours. For 48 hours, I'm going to post everything except for one thing was $20. Everything else was $15. I posted it, and we sold
probably more than
almost $600 worth of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we're sitting in church today. I checked my phone. One of his friends that he's never even met before. They've never met us before.
Just YouTube.
He's, a friend from YouTube donated a very generous amount. I don't want to say just because some people don't want you to say, but a couple of people have donated. I mean, yesterday someone donated the same very generous amount that I had no idea who she was. And I messaged her on Facebook because she was the only one with that name on Facebook. And I was like, hey, I don't know if you're the one who just, you know, helped us, who just donated the money or whatever to us. But thank you so much. That's so amazing. Like, if not, you know, sorry if that's not you. So she actually messaged me back this morning. She was like, hey, it was us. We're actually going through the adoption process right now, so I know how hard it is to, you know, worry about deadlines and all that stuff. And I was like, that is, like, so nice. Like, last night I stayed up till, like, 4 in the morning just, like, writing down everyone's orders and getting, you know, the stuff that they which, by the way, the VIP group, that's still going on until tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So we'll probably sell out of the majority of our stuff. We're out of a lot already. But there's still a lot of good things. $15 a piece, $3 for shipping if you don't live here. I mean, that's pretty crazy because most of my stuff is normally about $40 plus shipping. So, sorry, it's loud here, but
So the 3-year-old running around.
So yeah, I was up late doing that, and I was just like, I just couldn't sleep because I was just like excited, you know, and then pulling people's orders and all of that stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like people love us enough, and people who don't even know us, like, you know, just something about our story or the adoption process or something speaks to them, I guess, and they want to share in this experience with us. And it's really awesome just because, you know, half of these people that, you know, we don't know half of these people, and the people that we do know, like, you know, we know what it's like to have to pay bills and do stuff, you know, like you don't always just have $100 or $50 to just drop to somebody's donation page, you know, and in all we have to raise about $40,000.
Yeah.
And the first $3,500 is due in about 10 days. So just knowing that within like one day we raised about $1,400 so far, I mean, was crazy.
It's like I told somebody this morning at church. I said it's so cool that it's like it's not overwhelming, but it's just like it's
kind of overwhelming, like in a good way.
It's overwhelming in the sense of like the amount of people that like rally around you when you really don't know what you're doing. Like in the sense of like somebody who's never been through the journey, through the process, you really don't
someone messaged me today and was like, can you tell me about your process? And I was like, I don't even know what my process is like. Like,
yeah.
You know, I don't know how much it's going to cost. I don't know. I mean, we know the general idea. We'll know pretty much an exact amount when we get matched with a birth mom, because different states have different you know, fees and that kind of stuff. So we'll know more whenever the time comes. But right now we're looking at about $40,000. Hopefully it's a little cheaper, but it can be anywhere from 35 to 50 with the agency that we're using. So, or the consulting business right now is who we're with. So it is very overwhelming. I mean, do you want to just like kind of start from the very beginning and say like, what our plans for our future were before we ever had Charlie?
I mean, before we had Charlie, like you had lost like 50 pounds.
Well, let's just start with the fact that we got married when we were 19, and we'll just cram everything in here, like our love story. Like, you know, if you haven't watched our love story, it's on YouTube. It has about 18,000 views on it. But you can watch it on my channel.
Like a really fast like run through to get to where we were before, right before we had Charlie, was like we hated each other. I was a skater kid. She was a preppy girl. I was annoying. I thought she was stuck up.
I still think he's annoying.
And I still think she's stuck up.
Rude.
And but like we just like she came to my church that I was interning at one day with some mutual friends, and she was like, "Hey, baby, I can't stop looking at you." And I'm like,
okay.
I don't know what I'm.
Wow, the story's getting a little crazy here. That's not what it was like.
Okay, she couldn't stop looking at me.
No, it wasn't that I couldn't stop looking at you. It was the fact that you weren't a greaseball skater kid anymore. You had actually like grown up and looked like a normal human being. But
I didn't know what to say to her because I was just like,
So basically, we dated for 2 months. We got engaged. We were engaged for 3 months. During this process, Michael's dad, who you never really had a good relationship with since you were younger. When you were younger, you had a better relationship. And then as you got older, his parents are divorced. Dad lives in Texas. Mom lives in Alabama. So his dad said, we called him the day we got engaged. Michael was obviously, you know, excited. We had only been dating for 2 months, so we barely knew each other. But
it's exciting time.
His dad was like, no, you have to date somebody for 1 year before you can decide if you want to marry them or not. So call me in 5 years when you're signing divorce papers. Click. That was the last time Michael and I have spoken to his dad.
Yep.
We have even been in the same room with his dad 1 or 2 other times, and he did not speak to us.
Since graduation.
So let me just go ahead and say, Andrew Tomlin, if you ever see this, here we are. We beat the 5-year mark that you put on our marriage. We have had some really hard times, but we've also had some really freaking good times. And we have a 3.5-year-old now. And we will be married for 8 years in September. So I was 19 when we got married.
We've been together in April.
It'll be 8 years, yeah. It's not that much longer because we didn't really know each other. So yeah, we always wanted to adopt. Like, it was always just something that we thought about.
I said that when we were dating.
Yeah, I mean, we both, like, but at that time, 19, 21 years old, just meeting. It's like one of those things you think in your mind, it's like, oh man, yeah, I would love to adopt. That's so awesome. Like, I've always been a kid person. I've always wanted to be a mom. Like, you ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? A mom. Like, I didn't want to be a teacher, or at one point it was a famous singer, but a mom for the majority. And I have just always been motherly to kids that were not my own. So, when we got married, as soon as we got married, I was like, oh my gosh, let's have a baby. Let's do this. Blah, blah, blah. And, sorry, I have to keep looking over there, making sure Charlie's not like coloring on my walls or something.
Yeah.
And what was I saying?
I mean,
so a couple of years later, we had been married for 3 years? He said 3 years, and we had Charlie.
Yeah.
A little TMI. I've never been on birth control before.
And I've never used protection.
So those 3 years, I just kind of thought, oh gosh, I'm never going to be able to have kids, but whatever, it's fine. Like, we were young, didn't really think about it that much. And then everyone started having babies. By this time, I'm like 22, and I'm like, gosh, we had been married since I was 19. So, we'd already been married for a while. I'm like, gosh, everybody's having babies, blah, blah, blah. Well, a couple months later, I guess, in January of 2012, I went on a weight loss journey. So I lost 60 pounds, almost, about 55 pounds. And then one night, I remember Michael was sitting in the living room. I was in our room, and I walked out. And granted, Michael has never really, he's not a kid person, but he was never somebody who was like, oh my gosh, let's have a baby. Maybe he was like, let's make babies, but he was never like, let's have a baby. So I was like, I just really feel like, it's time for us to start like actually trying to have a baby. Like, I just feel like that's something that God put on my heart that, and surprisingly enough, he was like, okay. And his mind, he's probably like, yes, sex all the time.
It means like, you're thinking like down the road, you're like, it's going to happen like in a couple of months.
Yeah.
In the road too.
And we had in our mind too. Yeah, we had in our mind too, like most people say, it can sometimes take like a year. Well, I got pregnant that night. So, seriously, the very next day, we were standing in Publix, and I like had this feeling like I was going to pass out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. I know I am. I mean, it had only been one day, and I was like, I know I am. And I was. And maybe people just can't chat.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Because we do have 14 viewers on right now. So, I was.
You knew you were pregnant at
yeah,
that time.
I knew. Literally, less than 24 hours later, I knew. And I told Michael, and I was. And so, we had Charlie. And she's 3.5 now. And I guess the next part to this is the birth story.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm sure a lot of people have heard it.
Or read a blog about
or
it.
have read of my blog or something, but people always ask, and of course, like, you know, at first people would kind of say things like, oh my gosh, when are you going to have more kids? And it would kind of like stab me in the heart. But now,
you're cool.
I mean, I have my days, don't get me wrong. Sometimes, I mean, what was it? Not even a month ago, I was literally on the couch in the fetal position, depressed, crying, just because I don't know why this would happen to us or why this would happen to me. And so I had a very healthy pregnancy with Charlie.
You worked out, you ate great.
Yeah, I literally worked out till I was like 9 months pregnant. Not religiously, but
the first 6 months you did.
Yeah, I mean, everything was great. Never had morning sickness. Never nothing. I said the whole time, I was like, gosh, if pregnancy's like this, I'll be pregnant again in no time. Like I'll have 5 babies. So, you know, you stop. Yeah, all you can see in the side is you like this ball in your hand. So, when we went in to have Charlie, I was induced. They let me decide if I wanted to.
Hey, can you not do that, please?
They let me decide if I wanted to be induced because I was 39 weeks, and the doctor I was at, they just let you decide if you want to be induced at 39 weeks if, you know, everything's looking fine. So I was like, yeah, like, I'm over it. I was hurting. I was swollen. I was just ready to meet Charlie. So that night, we were driving, and I was getting induced at midnight. So at about 11 o'clock, we left to go to the hospital. And I just remember, exactly where we were. We were on Darby Drive in Florence, Alabama. What is that? No, not Floyd. Darby is the one that Woodmont is on.
I remember you saying it on Floyd.
No, I did not say it on Floyd. We were on Darby Drive, and we were almost on, like, coming up on Woodmont Baptist Church, fixing to turn right to go to the hospital. And I said, will you just pray for me? And Michael was like, well, yeah, what do you want me to pray about? And half of me is like, I'm fixing to have a baby. How about you pray for that? And then the other half of me, I was like, I said, I just feel like I'm going to die. And he was like, don't say that, you know, like, you're going to be fine. Like, it's probably going to be hard, but you're going to be fine, blah, blah.
Preposterous.
And so I didn't really think about it again. I mean, he prayed while we were driving with his eyes open.
It was like, Jesus, take the wheel.
and, you know, I didn't really think about it again. Well, I don't remember much, but I remember at about 3:30 in the morning, they broke my water.
Mm-hmm.
And
there is a vlog about that part.
Yeah, and then Charlie arrived at 1:21. 1:41. Sorry, God. It's been 3 years. Hey, I at least got the day right. At least I know her birthday. At 1:41. No, she cannot color on the iPad. Get her a piece of paper.
She's coloring on paper. I got a paper.
Are you coloring on paper? Okay. Sorry. At 1:41 in the afternoon, so it wasn't that long. I mean, it was literally like 4 pushes and she was here. And
but then that's when hell broke loose.
Yeah. So I remember them laying her on my chest and me looking at her and saying and telling her happy birthday. And then I said, oh my gosh, she's so small. And the doctors are like, she's so big. And, you know, to them, they see babies every day. To me, she was like this big, but she was 8 pounds and 4 ounces. So she was, I guess, a chunky little baby.
Good size.
And then after that, it just kind of all went downhill. They, I just remember things in and out, like them, you know, I remember Michael being, at one point he was over there, they were, you know, wiping Charlie off and everything, and the doctors were like mashing all over me and, you know, giving me medicine and IVs and all this stuff. And I was, at this point, I didn't really know what it was. I just knew I was kind of like going in and out. I don't remember this part really. And then Michael, I just remember him being beside me, and I just felt like I was going to die. I was like, am I going to die? Am I going to die? Tell me if I'm going to die. Tell me. And he asked, I mean, you know, it was 3 nurses in there, then 5 nurses in there, then 7 nurses in there. Then there was an entire faculty of nurses or staff of nurses in the room, and I knew something was wrong. And I couldn't feel anything. I mean, I couldn't feel them mashing on me or anything. And later the nurse told me that because after birth they like mash on your stomach and stuff to get your uterus to contract to stop bleeding. And she had told me that she mashed so hard with her elbow on my stomach that she could feel my spine. And that's how hard she was mashing, trying to get me to stop bleeding. So what had happened was I hemorrhaged when I delivered the placenta. And there's like a tiny little hairline, thread that attaches the placenta to the uterus. And whenever I delivered the placenta, it's supposed to detach, but mine didn't, so it ripped my uterus open, and there was no way for them to stop the bleeding.
Yep.
So the only thing left for them to do was to give me an emergency partial hysterectomy. So that means I don't have to take hormones or anything because I still have eggs. And I haven't, had any major issues,
hormonal issues. I mean,
I've had hormonal issues, but not like going and not like, what's it called, menopause kind of thing.
That's what I'm saying, not like menopause.
And then what's the other thing? Sorry, a bunch of people are asking to be my friend right now,
and they're also trying to get into your group. Anyways, so that's what happened. They wheeled her back to the
I just vaguely remember going into the elevator. I remember boom, boom, going into the elevator, and apparently Michael got to see me before.
I remember every little thing because I was there every step of the way. I couldn't get in the room while they were doing the surgery, but even after the surgery, I was the only one allowed into the operating room before they wheeled her into ICU.
I don't remember any of that. So
I remember there were so many things that happened in between. But
when I went into the operating room, I just remember it was so cold, and it was so bright. I remember seeing a man. I remember him telling me that he was my anesthesiologist, and I just remember my teeth were chattering so bad. I was shivering. I was so cold. Yeah, I didn't know that I had that in my throat at that time. And I had a big thing down my throat. I had an IV in my neck, and of course, all in my arms and stuff. But
it was the sweetest thing, though. Because
not yet. I remember being in the emergency room, just thinking, "Oh my God, if I'm gonna die right now, then just let me die. Let me die right now," because it was weird in that moment. I guess when you feel like you're gonna die,
we were just let me just go.
I wasn't scared of dying because I was like, I'm gonna die. And Charlie, please stop, okay? And I didn't die, so here I am. But after I had to be in the critical care unit, and then that's where he kind of remembers a little more. No,
because even when you're in the OR room, they were doing tests to make sure that you were responding, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had me go around and grab your hand, and they were like, "Look, Whitney, look who came to see you."
In the emergency room?
Mm-hmm. And they said, "Look, Whitney, look who came to see you." And of course, you're like,
"This is after the surgery, right?"
Yeah. And so they told me to grab your hand. They're like, "If you can hear my voice, squeeze Michael's hand." And we've always had a thing where it's where we'll say "I love you" without saying "I love you."
Well, whenever we're holding hands, we'll just squeeze each other's hand 3 times.
Yeah, and so that's kind of always been a thing we've always done. And so she did that while she was almost unconscious. And just kind of giving signals and stuff, but then she you kind of gripped onto my hand a little harder because you didn't want me to go. So it was one of those things where it was like, after all of that happened, it was still like, I don't know, it meant a lot, I think, more than she probably realizes, because I had been like bawling my eyes out because I didn't know if she was going to be
I mean,
dead
this
or
whole
alive.
time while I'm in, getting a hysterectomy, he had to sign without my consent that they could give me one. I mean, I had no idea when I woke up what had happened. They had to tell me, that I had to have a hysterectomy, and obviously that's devastating for someone no matter what when you're not planning for it. But when you're 23 years old, that's really not ever even on your radar. I mean, as far as I knew, people only had hysterectomies when they didn't want to have kids anymore.
Or like when they were like about to go through menopause.
Well, when they don't want to have kids anymore.
Oh,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know
That was
there was any other reason to have a hysterectomy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like you have to understand that there was a point where when she got wheeled off, I didn't know if she was going to come back alive. Like, you just didn't know, because it was they told me that was the last thing to help stop the bleeding, and you couldn't.
They said
promise.
that they had this thing, like these steps, that if this were to ever occur, that they had to go through, and it was like 7 different steps.
Different medications.
And they told me that they went through that process of 7 things 3 different times.
Yeah, you actually lost more blood that was in your body, so like a constant blood transfusion while this was all going on. It was pretty intense, and so, anyways,
Happy birthday, Charlie!
She ends up being okay, and
and then Michael found out that I was an angel sent from the Lord. Satan was an angel.
But yeah, they find, like, they actually told me, because they said that you weren't going to be able to come back up to your room. Of course, I was fighting for that, because I was like, she hasn't even got to be with Charlie except for right after she delivered. So we kept
and of course, really everyone on social media is freaking out because everyone knew I was going to have her, and then for literally like 13 hours, nobody said anything, because obviously my family wasn't going to post pictures of her on the internet, or even Michael wasn't going to, before I could even really see her. At this point, I didn't even know what she looked like, other than the fact that I'd seen her for a tiny little second, like before they took her to wipe her off. I mean, I held her for about 4 seconds probably, and then I didn't see her again.
It was pretty crazy. Like, so, but the rest of the family got to come down while she was in recovery, and everyone, like, broke the news of what happened and what they had to do and things like that. She did eventually, like, that night, we got her to go back up, and she got to see Charlie.
I got to stay in the room, and
yeah.
I just remember, like, when I was meeting her and stuff, every now and then, like, a little more comes back. At first, I didn't remember anything about meeting her, and now I, like, vaguely do, because we have pictures of it. I just remember, like, I was on a morphine drip, so I remember, like, trying to, like, feed her, and I just could not keep my eyes open. I was like, I'm not sleeping. I just can't keep my eyes open right now. Like, and, my parents were there. Everyone had obviously had a very long day, because they weren't going to leave, obviously, because their daughter and my sister, both of my sisters, and even my sister's husband, they obviously weren't going to leave me there. So, anyways, all of that, everything was fine. Obviously, we had always said we would talk about having more kids when Charlie was 3. So here Charlie is 3.5, and as any of y'all have, like, read, probably, like, our marriage was like an uphill, not even like an uphill, but like an uphill battle for like a year.
And basically the entire year of 2016 was nothing.
The worst. It was nothing but just not being able to stand each other.
I mean,
really.
More so you towards
yeah,
me.
it was all me.
There were a lot of things that took place that just, I mean, I would say probably verge of divorce was it was a reality last year, and like things didn't kind of settle down till about September, I would say, of last year.
Yeah.
So for the first 9 months of the year was like nothing but like hell on earth. Like it was so like
one of my
I
friends.
can't explain to you how bad it was.
One of my my best friend at the time, we just grew apart because of reasons that are no reason to ever even speak of again. It was just not a good friendship that I needed to be in, and it just wasn't good for our marriage. Nothing happened. Thank goodness. I mean, nothing bad happened, but there was just, constant fighting and negativity and just, people in my life that, didn't need to be in my life and were negative influence on our marriage and not things that we needed. So finally, when that broke off and we just kind of went our separate ways, things have literally never been better. I mean, obviously I could kind of compare it to like before we had Charlie, when it was just us and we got to hang out all the time and we actually liked being together and stuff.
Yep.
And of course, ever since having Charlie, it's been amazing. Like we love doing things as a family and like hanging out and stuff. But it's different when you have a baby. Like, you don't get that same time together and stuff. But now that we like overcame that in our marriage and not just overcame it, but it's like brand new. It's like
honeymoon all over again.
He wishes.
It's crazy because it's definitely more of an effort though to make a marriage work at this stage in our life, because they say always date your spouse, and
we don't have time to do that.
I'm working 60 hours a week.
Yeah,
the
Michael
only time
works
I get is like
his full-time job. He gets there at 8. He leaves in the morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock to go to the gym. 5:30. We're asleep. Charlie has to go to school, and then, on the days that he doesn't work, we go to a small group with our church, and then, that's only one day. Every other night, he gets off work at 4 and then has to be at the other job at 4:30 and is there till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and Charlie's asleep. So some days, a couple of days in a row, he doesn't get to see her unless he just comes by for 10 minutes and picks up his clothes, and Charlie's not asleep or something, So, anyways, we had talked about adoption and stuff again for a while, but it was just never the right time. We never both agreed. Like, obviously, like when we were having like problems in our marriage and stuff, obviously that just wasn't something to delve into at that time. But even up to a couple months ago, it was something that we had talked about. But it's not anything that he was against. It was just, you get nervous about having to raise $40,000 or, you just don't know the process and stuff. So,
well, plus for me personally, there was a lot of other fears of adopting that I had, other than just like financially and different things like that. It was like, there were definitely some fears, and of course I'm somebody who internalizes everything. I don't like to just vomit my fears and worries, especially when it's something like this, because I know she felt those same worries, but I didn't want to be like, no, I'm here for you, like I'm strong, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm like in the same sense, I'm so terrified that it's like I never wanted to pull the trigger because of the fear. But I've grown to embrace the fear of things in effort to grow as a person, as a husband, as a father, as
a family,
even as a Christian. This is something that
ever since we let go of like that negativity in our life, our marriage has just been amazing. We still bicker like
we had a big fight
daily. Yeah, it's nothing that's like, threatening to leave or something like that. It's just not like it's so much easier to just like bicker rather than want to throw like a glass bottle at his head. I've never done that before, by the way.
Because you get annoyed with I've always said that you are my best friend, and so you always been my best friend, even during the hard times.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
And so when you're around your best friend like this much, you're like, oh my god, you get on my nerves. But
Charlie's my best friend in the whole world, and she gets on my nerves so bad.
3-year-old too. She's a 3-year-old.
Yeah,
so.
but I'm saying, like, when you're around somebody, like, I'm with Charlie more than I'm with you. Like,
much more,
God, sometimes you're just like, go away from me.
Yeah.
But when Charlie was about 9 months old, we unexpectedly fostered a 2-year-old.
But that was
my parents had actually taken in this girl after she graduated from high school and her baby at the time, and that baby was now 11 years old. And one day I was taking a nap with Charlie, and I got a Facebook message that said, please, can you take my baby? If you can't take him, he's going to have to go to foster care, blah, blah, blah. And something in me just told me to do it. So within an hour, me and my mom were up there signing the papers. You know, this little boy, like, grew to, I mean, he was calling us mommy and daddy the first day he met us. I mean, like, plans to bring him to Florida with us. Like, if that's what was going to happen, that's what was going to happen, because we were planning to move here at the time. But he just had a lot of family situations. He thankfully got to be adopted with his sister by his grandparents. And that was a very hard thing. I mean, we were still learning to be parents. I mean, we had a 10-month-old. And, you know, I had just gone through a very traumatic experience, like, in my life. And he had gone through a very traumatic experience watching me. And it was just it wasn't a bad experience, but it was a very emotional experience.
It kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for what this is, because
like having a child that's not your own.
Right. Like, that's why, like, people who foster, like, there's a special type of grace on their life, because I can't do it. Like, if I'm gonna grow a bond and attachment with somebody, I'm gonna grow a bond and attachment with them. But when you've got somebody who's in the situation that she was in, and just back and forth, always trying to be in their life, and I'm like, hey, listen.
Well, the mom was on drugs. She still had visitation rights, so we had to let her come into our home and still visit him, and she was strung out on drugs every time, and it was just a very different situation. And for him, you know, he had never seen adoption or fostering or anything before, and neither had I, but I had became mom 10 months prior, and that's when I knew, you know, I didn't know that I would ever foster or adopt, just because it was so hard. I thought maybe I wouldn't, because this was just so hard. But that's when I knew that child who needed a loving home could come into our lives, and we had the ability to take care of them and to love. Oh gosh, when he first got to us, he wasn't even talking.
His health was really bad too.
His health was bad. I mean, and then in 2 weeks he was just talking away and blah blah blah. So
basically amazing.
Yeah. So that's just kind of when I knew that. I didn't know that we would adopt or that would foster or whatever, but I just knew, okay, I can love a child that I did not birth. And I think that was kind of God's way of just kind of reassuring me, you know, like, I have plans for you down the road, and when they get here, they're probably going to be scary ones, but it'll work out. Like, it's going to be fine. Because, you know, if you can't have kids, or if anything like this has happened to you before, you can't have more kids, especially after you've had one. It's like, I never get to do that again, you know, like, it's just very discouraging. But so we came to the conclusion that we wanted to start this process, because Charlie will be 4 in July, and we're super excited about it. And every single night I'm like, okay, well, if it's a boy, what are we gonna name it? And he hates, I only like one boy name, and he's not a fan. And then all the ones he wants to name are like
in the Bible.
Yeah, but this one, what did you say last night? It was like Bartholomew or something.
No, I didn't really like the name Bartholomew.
But he was saying all kinds of names that I'm like, no, I would never name my kid that. Like, no. And But girls' names, I'm like, no, what? I have a girl name that I love.
Yeah, there are some cuter girls' names, but I like a masculine, manly, strong, biblical boy name.
Yeah, but it's hard for me to
cute
picture.
hipster.
Yeah, but it's hard for me to picture like holding my little newborn baby and calling him a masculine man name.
Well, I'm just trying to set up his future. That's all I'm saying. Like Michael means one like God. There you go.
You need to work
My
on
future was set before I was even born. James is one of my middle names, which is like the brother of Jesus. So
that.
basically,
Okay, don't say any of my ideas, okay?
I'm not, but I'm just saying I've got like I don't like talking my name. Like I'm not saying Michael. Don't Michael Jr.
MJ.
I'm not saying that. But I just like some more, different. Like for a boy, I don't want like a hipster kind of name. I want like a strong masculine name. And Whitney, on the other hand, is like, no, I want like cutesy.
No, that's not. It's not that I want a cutesy name. It's that I like some names other than and like more than others. But anyways, so the donuts with Dad is this week.
Yeah.
So we're adopting. Woo!
Surprise! Bet you didn't see that coming, did you guys?
So just a little snippet of we're adopting an infant, and it will be domestically.
Under 2.
Well, no, it will be an infant. It will be more than likely we will get to be there at the birth, not watch the birth probably, but at the birth or soon after, depending where the baby is located and all of that kind of stuff. So our first $3,500 is due in 10 days, and our goal is to raise $40,000 total. So we have already
because there could be a child out of state, and if
it will more than likely be out of state, just because.
But being out of state, there's more costs involved than if
Right.
it was in state.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean every agency and everything is just different.
We're working through a company called FAC, Faithful Adoption Consultants.
Mm-hmm.
That's the company we're dealing with, and they
I've already met a
outsource
couple.
our profile to multiple.
Yeah, so rather than being
agencies.
an agency where they have birth moms come to them and they have these birth mom files, and then they can choose from whatever, this agency is connected to lots of lawyers and attorneys, and or this consulting business is connected to lawyers and attorneys and agencies and stuff all over the United States. So they have been in business for, I think, 9, almost maybe 10 years, and like 9. And the past 9 years, their average wait time once you become active is, which we will be active after we complete the home study process, is 4.5 months. So that could mean a woman who is 9 months pregnant picks us in however many months, and then we get the baby a month later. Or that could mean someone who's 10 weeks pregnant,
like 7 months later,
and we'll have to wait a while. So we don't know. They'll present us cases and we will say yes or no, and then the ones we say yes to, they'll take it to those birth moms, and they will either say yes or no to us. So ultimately the birth mom picks, obviously, who she wants her child to be with. We have lots of things up our sleeve, like to raise money and stuff. I'm just trying to figure out how to space it out accordingly. I won't get the sheet of exactly when what is due, like for deadlines, until we pay our first $3,500 and sign our contract on that day. So
we need your help, is what we're trying to say.
Well, yeah, we do. Like, I mean, we do not have $40,000. We do not have the first $3,500. That's why we are raising it. We have a loving home for a baby. We'll have anything a baby could ever want and possibly need. But finances are obviously something that always scares people off. And the thing about who we're going through is their thing is you should never adopt because you don't have the money.
That's insane.
And it is just so insane how much money it is. But we feel very confident and very at peace that this is who we're supposed to go through, and that the time is now that we're supposed to go through it. So, not saying that's going to be easy. I'm hoping that it's a breeze and I can have an amazing, I know sometimes there's, bumps in the road and stuff like that. And we just ask that y'all will be praying for us and, so we will eventually, we're going to make t-shirts. I'm having the fundraiser on the B+C VIP page until 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So go buy all the stuff. And then we've thought of some other things that we'll do in due time. Yeah, so before we had even 100% decided, I wrote a Facebook status and said that 2017 was going to be the best year after last year. So
anything could be last year.
Yeah. So there's Charlie. I mean, how freaking cute. Charlie was at first saying that the baby was going to be a boy. And now she's saying that it's going to be a girl. I would really, really, really love a girl, but I'm becoming more open to a boy. Michael wanted Charlie to be a boy. But
we need to balance out the hormones in this house. That's all I'm saying.
You got some hormones too.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I got all this testosterone pumping through my body.
No, you're more of a girl than I am.
So I take my test every day.
What did you just say?
I take my test every day?
You have you take testosterone?
You know I take a B6.
No, I don't.
Let me show you what I take. I don't care to share this.
Never mind, we might get a divorce.
I'm pushing 30 and test levels are decreasing.
No, they're not.
This is what I take. It's not actually test. It's just a...
What is this?
Strength.
Testosterone booster? Are you kidding me?
You realize I've been on that since December. I've been on that since December.
It explains a lot.
You're great.
You do realize I've been on that since December. Yeah. Now I know. I thought you were just a freak. I just realized I'm so my mom because I was like.
Yeah. I only take 2 capsules, so not 4. Just so you know.
Okay, great, because it says that the serving is 2 capsules, so I'm glad you
no,
take 4.
It says take 2 and then 2
Well, we're just going to have to discuss that off camera. So if Michael has a black eye tomorrow, y'all know why. But
sorry, I just got to make too many games, man. I got too many games and not enough tests to hold it.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Now let me share my secret.
Your secret to what?
This.
I'm sorry, but you're fat.
Really? Let's let the camera decide that.
No, let's not. Hey, Charlie, do you want to come tell everybody?
That you want to have a brother? A brother?
No,
a boy?
Stop.
I heard you whisper, "My sister."
No, I didn't. I said that you're going to be a big sister.
I'm going to be a big sister, guys.
Are you excited?
Be a big sister?
What are you
How
most
excited are
for?
you? Yeah.
Hey, this was fun.
Oh, sorry. Let me scoot over. My butt cheek is stuck to the. Are you gonna have? Do you think we're gonna have a baby brother or a baby sister?
Guys,
She wants you to see her tattoo. Here. Wow, monster trucky. We went to a birthday party earlier, so that's her monster truck tattoos. Clearly, it was the little boy's birthday party. Hey, so you're gonna be a big sister? No.
What are you?
Yes,
What are you most excited about?
what are you gonna do when the baby gets here? It was so cute because my friend was in the nursery today, and she said that Charlie was saying she was gonna be a big sister. And it was so cute.
But we need to make one thing clear: Whitney's not pregnant.
No, we're obviously adopting.
No, I meant to the world of like people outside who know. Look, I'm gonna be a big sister. Oh, really? How far along are you?
Oh, yeah. Please, no one asked me that. Someone at the party today did say, yeah, Sarah told me that y'all are both having babies. And I was like, oh, well, she's having a baby. I'm like adopting a baby. And she just kind of laughed. And I was like, no, really, we're adopting. Are you trying to call me fat? She was like, oh my God, you're not trying to say right. But yeah, Sarah had, I guess, mentioned that we were both having babies, and she just assumed.
Okay.
But okay, Charlie, should we have a baby boy or a girl? I love how Charlie says girl. She says a girl. Huh? Michael said, do you want to have a boy? And she said, no, a girl. What do you want to name it? Name her. Claire? Claire. She decided on Claire. That's cute.
Well,
I think that's really all we had to talk about.
the link
If you,
to donate is in the description.
yeah, but if you, for some reason, don't look down there, it is www.youcaring.com/the Tomlins. That's where you can donate. And seriously, we really appreciate everybody who's already donated, and for those of you who plan to donate, like I know someone messaged me and donated $15 and was like, I know it's not much, and like, no, it counts. Like it
Every
goes.
little bit helps.
Yeah, every little bit helps. Like obviously, you know, we have a while to go, so we really appreciate like big donations, but those little ones we appreciate just as much, because without those little ones, we're not getting any farther. So
you can even personally be like a monthly donor, where you say, you know, I can only afford $20, but I'll give you $20 every month until you get your baby. Like every little bit helps.
And every single thing goes directly to a account that we've set aside for the adoption.
Mhm.
So nothing will be used for personal use. Everything will be going to fees for the adoption. So
Yeah.
we will obviously be letting y'all know as deadlines come and go, and the process where we're at in it, and how much longer, and when we're matched, and all this kind of stuff. Can you not rub my butt, testosterone booster boy?
Did I touch your butt?
You literally just rubbed my butt crack.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that. I thought
Maybe
it
you
was
should
more
move that
rubbing
down
back.
to one pill.
Move your butthole. Then move your butt like
Move your butthole.
that. In my hair.
No, baby. Daddy's gonna sit right here.
So yeah, and then you can also follow along on our Facebook page, which is Bringing Home Baby Tomlin. So, which is www.facebook.com/Bringing Home Baby
Squish
Tomlin.
me, Mom.
Huh?
You squish me.
Oh, ow! Hey, Charlie, one more time. Boy or girl?
Yeah.
Girl. What should we name her? Hey, pick a name or I'm going to turn it off. Charlie B. That's a great name.
Hey, wait. What did you say that your tattoo said? What does that say? She told me earlier. She said it says Charlie B. Tomlin.
It actually says crunch time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all we have to talk about for now. Please share the crap out of our donation page and our Facebook page. There is absolutely no way that we can do this without the support of family and friends and donations and all that stuff. So thank you for everybody who's donated. Thank you in advance for all of you who plan to. And we will see you
next time.
next time.
Peace out.
Peace out. Bye.